Right. Hey, welcome to the Regrid webinar. We are back again to discuss yet another product offering, a new offering that we launched last week. So that's going to be the topic of conversation today. And joining me is Matt Karli, our data product manager. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
Hey, good to see you, Sahana. It's good to see everybody on the call.
Yeah, and for all of you joining us live, thank you so much for taking the time. Please, we're going to spend some time at the end to answer questions, of course, but keep them coming all along. So let's jump right into it. So we are meeting here today to discuss the new add-on parcel data solution that we launched just last week, actually exactly 1 week ago, last Wednesday. Enhanced ownership. This has been in the works for a while, and we are so excited to get this out early in the new year. This is something that many of our customers have asked for. It's something that our team is very proud of. It's an enhancement, a perfect enhancement that sits right on top of our robust nationwide parcel data. So, Matt, 6 weeks into your time with us at Regrid and getting this product launch out, how did it feel? And let's just jump right into it. Talk
Oh
about the
yeah, it
product.
was. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Like you said, I've been with. I started with Regrid on the 1st of January, or the 2nd of January, technically, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it was awesome and amazing working with the team on this product launch. I've been really impressed with everybody, and there obviously a lot of work went into this prior to my coming on board, and so I just got to come in and kind of like put the bow on it. I feel like so.
No.
But yeah, no, this is a really exciting product because it really represents kind of like obviously we recognize that ownership is a key attribute, which is why it's been part of our product for years. Like it's been part of the Regrid nationwide parcel data for years. But as you mentioned, we've had some customers, that have specific use cases that rely on more frequent ownership updates that have come to us in the past, and they said, hey, we really need this. We can't find it in the market anywhere. We can't really get it, and that's another thing that's really exciting is like from everything that I've been able to find, like this is the first time like linked to parcel boundaries, like linked to the geospatial file, you can really get that ownership update at a price point that makes sense. Like you might be able to go find it somewhere else for a high margin price point, high level price point. But we've really put the work in to make it consumable for customers and realistic. So it's been really exciting. And we've partnered with Atom Data Solutions on this,
Right.
to leverage their daily updates, when they get them, and they're passing them right over to us, and we're packaging them up and passing them directly to our customers, and we're linking the data to our UUID, our unique persistent ID that's present on our parcel boundary.
Yeah, and as always, it's been a pleasure working with the team at Atom. Big shout out to Pete and Nelda. They've been great to work with. So just to kind of circle back, enhanced ownership. So our nationwide parcel data has really good quality owner information. We have over 95% coverage nationwide. But what is the key difference with this product is really the daily delivery of ownership changes. It's really as near real time as possible. So let's talk about that. That's what makes this enhanced ownership. So it's literally the most current ownership information that is very use case specific, and it's meant for use cases that really do rely on that most current, almost near real time ownership information. They want to stay updated with these ownership changes and know them as they happen, and that's why we have the new cadence for daily delivery.
That's right. Yeah, and one of what it's interesting, that one of the questions as we work to put this product out is like how is this different than our existing owner information that we have on our parcels and have had on our parcels for years, because we were asking ourselves, like, does this mean we don't have good ownership? Like, and we were pleasantly surprised, I guess maybe some of us were pleasantly surprised maybe to find out that our ownership is really good. Like our base ownership is really solid. Like we're talking about like a 5% dissonance, right, where there's difference, but that equates out to quite a significant number of parcels when you take it 155 million.
Yeah, 155 million.
And so, and the other thing that we see is like we update our parcels really frequently. And so what this really hits and what this really allows for is that customer who really is like on kind of the knife's edge. Like they're like, I need to know as soon as it's happening. Like I'm working to put infrastructure into the ground. I want to be able to get my stuff in the ground before construction starts happening, and it becomes markedly more expensive for me to get that stuff in the ground. And I also want to be able to serve customers at new construction sites on day one. And that can't happen if I don't have some indication that that's happening. And so we've heard that sort of use case from our customers, and now we're able to enable it for that level of user who needs it. Right? Not everybody does. Not everybody is going to need this, daily cadence. It's not exactly a light lift, although we've made it as light as it possibly can be. We're not having to redeliver, 155 million parcels every day.
No.
We're just able to deliver a really slim, really light text CSV file that can just be appended in on the cadence that works for the customer. So we've built that flexibility in so that they can arrive at the solution that they need for their business needs, because we realize this isn't one size fits all necessarily.
Yeah, and it's tabular, like you said, CSV, so it's not a heavy lift, it's not a heavy delivery. Let's actually jump right into what's included in this data set. So what are the set of fields that one can expect?
Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, it's a slim field. It's a slim delivery. We're not putting any extra bells and whistles on it. It's really focused on ownership. So the things we're delivering with this is we're delivering owner 1 through 4. So if there's 4 owners on a parcel, in the case of shared ownership, or even in cases where the husband and wife are broken out on separate lines, things like that, you're going to get all 4 of those. And not a lot of properties have 4 owners, but those that do, it matters for use cases that are dependent on this, right? So we're providing 4 distinct owner fields. The other thing that's a little bit unique is we're giving you both a concatenated owner field, that's like Matthew E. Karli, as well as the first, middle initial, last name, and suffix. So Matthew E. Karli, and I'm not a junior, but if I was a junior, it would be junior, right? So it allows for whatever your data architecture looks like, whether you've got a concatenated field or you've got component fields, it allows you to seamlessly integrate. And that's for all 4 owners, right? The other thing, we provide the mailing address, which is key. We provide that on our base data as well. But as properties change hands, mailing address can change, and so that is a key field that we provide, and also uniquely we provide 4 deed owners, right? That's 4 owners who are listed on the deed. Now, what's the difference between owner and deed owner? Not a lot in most cases, right? But there are some. My property is actually a really good example because I've got, like, on the tax assessor. If you look at my owner on my record on the tax assessor, you'll get Matthew E. Karli and April D. Carl. They left the I off of our last name. On the deed owner, they've got it right? So they have it correct on the deed owner. So we'll see that difference in use cases where you need to understand what's recorded legally, not just what's in the assessment roll, because it's not the same. You do end up with that additional insight. And obviously, we've included our UUID, our unique persistent ID, that makes it linkable back there. But that's it. Like, really, really slim file, which makes it really easy to digest and really easy to consume.
Yeah, and this is probably the reason why it is an add-on solution, because depending on your use case, you can add this on to any of our existing schemas. So if you're using either our parcel data in our standard schema, premium, or with any of our matched data sets. So if you're using our premium parcels with matched secondary addresses or premium parcels with matched building footprints, and you still need that daily ownership change, most current ownership information, this can be added, and it's already matched and provided at a UUID level. So, it takes the mystery out of it. So that it's attached to a parcel record. It's we made it very easy to not only license this, to bundle this with any of your solutions, with any of our existing solutions, but we also made the daily delivery cadence very easy and simple. This should be essentially just you getting the most current information along with all the 155 parcel records that we have. This is not available standalone. Also, standalone, it really is not of a lot of value because all of these ownership information is attached to a parcel record, and when it's combined with the parcel record is where there is true value for.
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Do we want to do a quick demo and then quickly talk about some
Sure.
use cases and examples while we are demoing it, and then we can open it up to questions?
Sure, absolutely. Let me get that pulled up if I can find this share screen button. And here we go. Sahana, let me know when you can see my screen, and we'll kind of dive right in.
Right.
This
Okay.
is this is
Ready.
just a. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So this is just a quick demo the team put together for me to kind of dig through and play around and identify where some owners are changing. This is an area in Austin, Texas that we're looking at. So I identified this property. It's funny, Sahana, this showed up. I got a little mailing report from my local neighborhood real estate agent who kind of sends out these things not very often anymore, really. Like I think I used to get it like quarterly, but I don't know if I've seen it in a couple of years. So it showed up. It was timely because it showed up, but it identified this property as having sold right at the very, very end of January. And so I went and I looked, and I thought this was a great example because we had just updated our parcel boundary data for Travis County right at the end of January. And this property changed hands right at that time. And this kind of shows a little bit of the disconnect that can occur between the GIS offices that maintain the GIS data and the recordings, which is where the enhanced ownership is coming from. And so you can see on the left here, you've got Regrid. And then on the right, you've got what's in the enhanced ownership. And you can see Sandmar Birdhouse Properties, LLC. You've got their mailing address. They've only got the one owner. And then this actually is the correct owner on the enhanced, as expected.
Yeah.
David Bowman and Stacy, I don't want to mispronounce her, like Kawakimi. And, you can see the mailing address change, and you can also see the addition of the deed owner. And we do provide that transparency specific to the date that record was updated. So you can see it was updated on February 16th, not even 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. And like you said, this is a great example because it shows that our currency on our ownership information is not too old. Like this was end of January. And then, but for, use cases and businesses that rely on the most current, we were able to see the ownership change as early as 2 weeks ago.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's interesting because I looked at that same property report that I got from my real estate agent, and like there were only 2 properties on there that had transacted in January that weren't as updated as our base data set, which was updated at the end of January. So it didn't take me very long. Like there were like 15 properties listed on that report. And 13 of the 15 were current. Right. So it shows that little bit of disconnect that does happen between the GIS department and the recorder's office. They've got processes themselves, and every government does, to show how that works. I'll show you another example. It's nearby. I like this one because it's like when you zoom in, this property actually straddles the Williamson and Travis County line. And you can see the same sort of thing happens. Again, no deed owner on our base data, only one field, and you can see it's both parties who are listed as in one field, whereas in our enhanced, you've got the two owners separated out. And again, we just showed the concatenated version here in this example. The broken out component fields are there as well. And again, you can see this one was updated. I think this property transacted sometime in the first couple of weeks of January, and you can see. So even then, you see the time gap between when the GIS department is updating it. And so that's an example. Can kind of take you out of Texas a little bit if we want to do that and show a little bit of like where kind of the deed owner can come into play, and start to show you additional. We'll give the map a second to do its nice little flyover to.
You have a Scotland Yard in Austin. How fun!
Yeah, this neighborhood, I noticed when I was looking at it, it has a lot of like English landmark type names. There's I think the street over from where we were before is called Pilgrims. There's another one not too far away called Heathrow. And I think there's actually one called Shakespearean Way too that I saw. So it's interesting, how neighborhoods get named. But so this is an example where the property hasn't changed hands, but you actually get some additional insight into, the additional owner names that are happening. So this is Roy and Donna. Roy and Donna, you can see, are both listed here. But then you've got this Salvador Maldonado, who's also a partial owner of the property. And you can actually see he's listed on the deed.
Deed as well.
So if you're getting just our base data, you'd be missing out on that insight.
Yeah.
Maybe that matters to you, maybe it doesn't.
Mhm.
But it's insight. Some of our customers have expressed a
Yeah.
need and a desire to have insight into. Um, I've got a couple more examples. If we've got a minute or two, I think we do. I'm going to just declare that we
Yeah,
do
we
until
do.
you tell me otherwise.
No, we do have the time, and demos are always fun. And
That's
it's,
right.
I do want to say, just having that little nod, of accuracy with the deed ownership,
Hmm.
it makes such a difference.
It's all about timing, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all about like how imperative is having the most current, the most up to date information for your use case.
Hmm.
Not every use case needs that level of information, but some
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
There's that. So this is another great example where you're seeing the multiple ownership
Mm.
come into play. Where Ben and Beatrice Salazar are the owners on the Regrid base data, but then you see
Yeah.
there's several. So you see Ben and Beatrice listed as owners 1 and 2, but then you've got a couple different folks.
Yeah.
Somebody, it looks like there's probably some sort of relation of Frank Salazar and Michelle Cotton,
That's right.
but then there's another one, Patricia Delacroix.
Hmm.
Like where do they come in? So you can kind of see this may have been a property again. There's a little bit of speculation on my part. Maybe this is an inheritance property, right? Where there's some shared ownership. It was owned by a parent, or someone who passed
Possibly.
along, and provides some shared ownership there. So there's cases like that across the country, but this is a great example of how you can see the value when you start looking at owners 2, 3, 4, and then the deed owners coming in as well, just
Hmm.
giving you that additional transparency as to exactly what's going on with a particular property.
Amazing. I do want to just point out that this demo actually shows, when the owner name could be different from the base data, but also in many cases it could be the same, because our
Mm-hmm.
base data currency is
It's good.
pretty
Yeah.
frequent, is really good. But at the same time, the level of transparency, the level of granular detail that this data set provides with the shared ownership, the multiple owners, the deeded owner information,
Exactly.
it is so valuable. I think it might be a good segue to jump right into the kind of use cases. We've actually seen this with our own customers. It's been an ask from our own customer base because there have been some very specific use cases that do rely on that level of frequency for ownership information.
That's exactly right, and that's a fantastic segue, Sahana, because as you mentioned, like ownership changes. Like it's a dynamic field, which is why we rolled out this product, right? But at the same time, like it doesn't always change. Like, I mean, I've lived in my house for 24 years, right? And the owner's been the same, for 24 years. However, like when you're applying use cases that are relying on the most current information for whatever reason, and a good
Hmm.
example is, I know that like utility companies and transmission companies, they when they're running like high voltage power lines and things like that, if you live and owners within a certain radius, a certain area, or a certain buffer of those transmission lines need to be notified by the provider, by whoever's operating that transmission line, that transmission line's there, that it's maintained this way, that it's going to be maintained this way. And there's regulations, or maybe there's even internal processes that say, hey, we need
Yeah.
to make sure that when we're notifying owners that this is coming in, that our ownership is up to date to maybe within 30 days, maybe 45, maybe 90, right? But having that level of transparency that enhanced ownership provides, that says, hey, this owner name was last updated on this date and it's
Hmm.
current as of this date, allows customers and those types of users to not have to do secondary checks, right? They don't have to go and verify information they already have, right? And unless it falls outside their buffer, which can still happen. But at least that smooths their workflow, and every minute, every work item that they can take off their plate saves them money,
Yeah.
and ergo allows them to better serve their customers. So yeah, it's a great use case. And so even in this is where ownership isn't necessarily changing, knowing that it didn't change is
Yeah.
often just as valuable, right?
Yeah.
So that's important as well.
Yeah. And, we would like to hear more such use cases. We know that this is not an exhaustive list. I'm sure
Sure,
there
of
are many
course.
more out there that we want to serve with this product. So do let us know if you're listening in. If you have a need for this kind of data set, do reach us out. You can use our parcels at regrid.com email address, or we can put a link to our contact us page so you can reach out to us. Let us know what you're looking to achieve, what problems you're looking to solve. Even if this is not the solution, there might be something else in our product and solution stack that could actually meet that use case. So do reach out. I feel like this is the perfect segue to Matt. There are already a couple of questions coming in. If you want to take a look at those, I'll do a quick update on what is available with enhanced ownership. So right now we are providing this as bulk files. It's tabular data, so CSV format, along with all of our existing delivery formats, all of our spatial data formats for parcel data. It's also available through our API. So this is always going to be bundled with one of our parcel data solutions. So the Parcel API and tiles plus enhanced ownership is available through our API solutions. It's going to be soon available through feature service. We are currently in the process of getting our feature service ready for all of our matched data sets, by which I mean matched secondary addresses, matched building footprints, and enhanced ownership to be readily available, to be directly plugged into an Esri environment using the Regrid feature service shortly. And what this is not available through is any of our self-serve solutions, which means our, app, our property app, so Pro, Team, Freemiums, and our self-serve API and data store. But if you have a use case that requires this, we are confident that we have a way to solution this for you, so reach out to us. All right, let's jump right into questions, and please keep the questions.
Yeah, no, we've got some good questions already, and I've got to say, one of the questions I don't have the answer to, but I'll find it, and I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't think of it. But the first one has to do with that the understanding is that Adam doesn't have real-time ownership changes across all counties across the United States, and that is 100% right. Adam is not updating nor is anybody else. Yeah. Never mind Adam, but no one else that I'm aware of is updating every county, every day, all the time. So this is something we're still working to get our hands around, as far as like what is the actual cadence historically for each and every county across the country, and have that detailed out by county FIPS. But we do know that we are seeing consistent updates, at least on a weekly basis, for around 2,300 counties across the United States. Now, the part of the question I don't have the answer to, what percentage of parcels are updated at this cadence? I don't know that, but I will get it, and we'll get that available at some point.
So it would be an average, because it varies significantly depending on the ownership.
Will, but this one I think, Sahana, will be less so, right? Yeah, because again, we're talking about specific to the ownership, but we will get an answer on that. We'll pop it into our FAQs. One of the things that Regrid is fantastic about is transparency. So we will get that answer. We will put it out, but it's about 2,300 counties, and I can tell you that doesn't mean that like there's about 3,200 counties across the United States. That doesn't mean that it's like 66% of the parcels, because those 2,300 counties account for at least probably 80% of the parcels nationwide, because the areas that are larger, larger jurisdictions, more parcels mean bigger budgets at the tax assessor, at the recorder's office, means they're better infrastructure to be able to deliver that stuff out to Adam on a daily basis. And so we'll get that taken care of. Another question that we got is the date that we're reflecting on the currency of the ownership. Is that the actual date the ownership changed, or is it the date that Adam changed it? It's the latter. It's the date that Adam changed it, right? Yeah. And I've been looking at this pretty closely. Some of the properties that I looked at that I shared in the demo, it looks like there's anywhere from like a 5 to 14 day flex that can happen in there. And again, this happened. Like one of them, I saw the property transacted on January 25th. The recording was actually made it in on the 26th. It made it in Adam's data on like the 8th. So it was about 8 days, total, and there was, I think there was a weekend between.
Yeah, that said, that is still extremely good currency and frequency on ownership changes, because it's still happening on that daily cadence. So even if there is a little bit of that lag, we do capture it within the next few days. And by we, I mean, Atom does it first, of course.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We do have another question that's come in. It's asking about about units, right? Previously our base data has not captured, independent units. Do we have this in the ownership data? Not yet, because we don't have anything to link it to, right? So we don't have that yet. That is something that we're going to be looking at. And one of the things that Sahana and I, this is a little peek toward a little bit of our roadmap, is that we are working toward getting better about units and subunits as it relates to all manner of things. And I'll leave it at that, because again, this is a little bit of a sneak peek as to where we might be going in the future.
That's right. And
unless you want to
Tyler,
add something, Sahana.
No, I just a little segue to that. Tyler, thank you so much. It's so great to see you here. And thank you for all the questions. So the enhanced ownership information does not necessarily contain unit level information, but we do have num units in our schema. And you, as you rightly pointed out, those are very sparsely populated. So we do not get good coverage everywhere for that field. However, if you're just looking for unit addresses, some of that is covered in our match secondary address product. So one of the things that we were mainly solving for is, we have the situs address, which is the main parcel address, and we wanted to get a list of all the other, all known addresses basically, but all the match secondary addresses for a parcel. So there is that unit level address information in our match secondary address data set, which is probably a little bit different from what you're asking with regards to ownership itself. But if you're just looking for unit level, that would be one of our solutions to go for. All right, do we have another question? The coverage report, is there a field that provides percentage of enhanced ownership data by county?
Yes, and I believe, I'm looking at our coverage report right now because I believe that is there, but as I'm looking at it, I'm not...
I don't think we have it in the...
I don't think we've calculated it. We can calculate it, and what the information that's there, the information is there to do the math and calculate it, but it's not there. So that's something we need to calculate out to have that quick.
So we have the count
percentage. We have the counts, right? We have the counts of number of parcels and number of matched, right? But we don't have the percentage by county. So that's a great question, and something that I missed, quite honestly.
So we can add that in there, but let me share the coverage report right now, Jacob, if you want to take a look at it. It's not been calculated, but the actual count and the number is in there in our coverage report that I just shared here. We can actually add that as one of our columns in the coverage report to make that easier.
Yeah, I'm making a note right now to do so.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, and we've got another question that's come in. The solar's mailing address data providing, that's going to be, again, it's coming from our partner, Adam. Adam Data Solutions, and they're pulling that from two sources. They're pulling it from the deed, and they're pulling it from the annual tax roll.
Actually, this is a good segue to how this data set is a unique amalgamation. It's not of two different sources coming together. That's why we're able to compile the deed owner information along with the multiple owners. And it's nice to have, one solution that actually incorporated two things from two different sources that would add value and accuracy and transparency for one data point, which is ownership.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions? I believe we got them all.
I think we've answered all the ones that have come in. Fantastic questions. We really appreciate the live engagement and y'all asking the questions. It helps us get better, and it helps make sure that we are hitting the mark with our understanding and our communication around this. So thanks to everybody who asked a question.
If you would like to learn more, please do reach out. We do have our the schema and the coverage report and for enhanced ownership on our support site. We also have FAQs on our support site. So if you felt like there were questions that you were not able to get to here, you might find them on our FAQs. We'll drop the link here. Please do check them out. If you have any questions, come back to us. If you have feedback on what could make this better, clearer, so you can understand the product better, please let us know. We're always looking forward to getting more feedback, but also more excited to hear use cases. What are the different ways this could solve problems?
Yep. Thanks much. Love to hear it from any of you on additional use cases. I love use cases, and understanding kind of what the pain points are. So I know Sahana, you do too.
Yeah. All right. Okay. If there are no more questions, I think we can wrap this up at this point. Like I said, we are super accessible, so reach out to us. One of us from our team will be there to help answer questions, and hopefully this becomes the solution that you need. And a big shout out to the team at Adam for helping us build this solution and get this out to our customers as part of the Regrid stack. And Matt, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all your hard work. I know you said much of the work was done before, but I think you gave your magic to this product and helped us deliver this on time. And thank you and congratulations on your first launch.
Yeah, it's absolutely my first launch for Regrid. I'm excited for many, many more to come. So
absolutely. All right. Okay, let's end this. See you all on the other side. See you guys. Bye.
Take care, everyone.